to equally push to keep our in that. To, you know, as we moved in that, is that while going as well. And so, yes, you see the Makajumbies come back into fall. Yes, you see the mummies and all of these come back into fall. The actors, the bull. I think we have more bull troops now than ever before, right? But that's intentional. Every summer we do youth camps.
Yeah.
Coming on to the season in Christmas, we do another set of youth camps.
Yeah.
And drumming, we've expanded the drumming program. You know, when I got in, we bought over 50 African drums so that we could expand the drumming program into the rural communities. Right now, drumming is such a vibrant part of our culture again. You know, you can go back to a Kola Tegraman.
Back then.
Yeah, the group. Now, we have so many groups that focus on African drums. But that is intentional to make sure that our culture survives and lives well into the future. And it's not just about performing. I want us to also note we spend a lot of time documenting our culture. So now we have been documenting it, the true essence of what it is, so that future generations could go back to some type of documented evidence, visually, written, and understand what is the true meaning of this. And that's something that I don't think we had. It was in the minds of some of the practitioners. We are now extracting it from just a mental piece into something that 100 years from now you can look back at and say, this is what the bull was supposed to be about. This is what the masquerade was supposed to be about. This is what the mummies were, and all the different folklore elements. Why they dress the way they dress. Why the different drum patterns and what they mean and what the essence is. So we are documenting all of that through our documentation of our intangible cultural heritage project.
All right. Let us talk about the Prime Creative Arts Center. I know when that picture first emerged, persons had questions, but I want us to talk about the progress of that.
Creative Arts Center. For nearly 30 years, we as creative have been asking for a Creative Arts Center. Even with Island Expressions, we had to be bouncing to venue after venue looking for a home. Why? Because we did not have one. And one of the things that I did early in my political career was commit to ensuring that we will have a Creative Arts Center. Today, we are now in the process of the construction of one of the best creative centers in the region.
So let me get this clear. The construction have started?
So let me detail that. The construction process has started, yes. However, not the physical earth moving. And so the contractor has already been contracted. The machinery has been shipped because you see the type of building it is. It's not something that you can just knock together. All the other areas in the back end are being conducted so that the earth moving when it starts, because this isn't one of those groundbreaking that starts and, you know, we want to go straight through and get that completed. In fact, our timeline is about 3 years that we are looking at.
To completion?
Based on the contractors and the advice from the contractor.
All right, so happy to hear about that. So let us speak about carnival and national events. We know you're also the Minister of Entertainment. So let us talk about the successful delivery of a well-organized National Carnival Festival. I know you have a bunch of persons behind you, as you already said. There's no iron team, and I know they work very hard to deliver an excellent festival. The festival has been growing, and we noticed that from the attendance, the publicity we have been getting. Yeah, I'm on social media all the time.
I thought that was just a photo op.
Don't get into politics. I don't get into politics, okay? Yeah, so I've seen that. I work at the port that receive most of the persons. I see everything happening. So I have, I, how do we say it? I have the is it first hand? First hand information then. So I see and I understand.
Maybe you need
I'm
to
not
educate
speaking
some
for
people.
everybody. You ain't gonna get me beat up today. So let us talk about what it takes to produce a well-organized national festival.
Quite a bit. The first thing is you have to have a plan. In 2022, when I sat with the chairperson, Shannon Harley, I told her what I envisioned for National Carnival. And we shared a lot of the same vision. Some of it I'll be for the state that we were. You know, she would say, Minister, you ambitious, eh? But she hopped on board nonetheless. And saying that we could move our carnival product to where it is now, I don't even think that most people even fathom that we could do it in the time frame that we have been doing it in. But to date, our carnival product has almost doubled in size. In terms of the amount of troops, in terms of the numbers in each troop, in terms of visitorship. The recorded visitorship to the island during Carnival just last year was over 22,000 persons that visited the island during that period of time. Now, the largest Carnival troop last year, we saw over 3,000.
This year?
Well,
you know, it's the first.
yes. So 25, 26, we saw over 3,000 persons in the largest troop. Never before have we seen those type of numbers. And we see the product growing. And again, we talk about the cultural element of that. We also see that growing. And so for us, that's a sense of pride where you could grow the overall product and everything works in alignment. Your cultural identity and the other elements that you've introduced, and they're all going in alignment. What we are trying to do now is to see how we continue that growth and how we support these elements, because at the end of the day, it's a small country, and we all share into the different sponsorships and the different areas for generating revenue. And so we recognize that there are areas that we still need to give additional support to. There are areas that we have done well in supporting. But this is where we're now looking into. And so we've been doing our SWOT analysis. We've been going back to the drawing board as we do every year. So every year we don't get content with, oh, this was the biggest carnival. We go back to the drawing board as if we're starting from scratch. And we start rebuilding again. Look at what works. Look at what may be able to work a little better. And continue improving. And that is the reason why, you know, I was telling the story just recently. In 2023, 24, we celebrated and said, wow, this was the biggest carnival yet. And then we came back in 24, 25, and then we celebrated again, wow, this was the biggest carnival yet. And then we came back 25, 26, and we're celebrating again, wow, this is the biggest carnival yet. So I'm still looking to see what 26, 27 brings to the table.
Yeah, that's 55.
That's right.
So it has to be bigger, better, and more live.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
You sound like you already got a theme already.
I'm not lucky. I may sound lucky, but I'm never lucky. All right, so now we know what to expect for 55. Let's move on to sports development. Now I know we have a spanking brand new situation up there at Kim Collins Highway. How do you, as the minister, get people to put pride and take care of what basically all of us have to pay for? How? So that the longevity of that stadium works.
Well, I think it's a collective effort with all of society. What we can do from the ministry standpoint is put rules and regulations to help manage. But to instill that pride in persons to take care of it, I think we all have a role to play. Where if we've seen somebody doing things that should not be done, we mention it to them, we report it to the authorities, also to encourage people not to do things like I've seen just recently where people were jumping the fence and, you know, that type of thing, We don't need to be doing
Is that because of what was said that they were locked out, or they're just being malicious now?
But even if you're locked out from somebody's property, how do you jump the fence?
Yeah, you're still committing a crime. Right?
There you go.
Okay, I was just asking.
So again, let's clarify that they were not, but
Okay.
I'm just saying that even if that's your argument, you should not do that. And these are the things that we need to tell our society, like their rules, and we need to abide by them. And these rules are not put in place to be malicious. Like you said, we need to protect the investment that we are all paying for.
Yeah.
And as a minister, we have to put things in place to protect these investments. And part of that is for you to properly register for use of the facility, because we can't just leave it open.
No, understood.
And so if you have to properly register for use of the facility, I don't see that as a big issue, right? But I guess, there are so many other things to play in that,
That you wish to touch on any, or?
I mean, a lot of it is political, right? A lot of it, sadly, our country gets too deep into this malicious politics, and everybody's trying to fight for a headline, right? And trying to fight for a story. And I'm saying there are things that's bigger than politics in the moment. Yes, ultimately we're going to have a campaign and we're going to talk about all, but beyond that, we're here to develop the actual industry, sports being one of them. And after you've spent over $6 million to repair a stadium, you don't just want it to go back into disrepair. And so yes, you have to put rules and regulations for its upkeep and its management. And part of that is just for people to formally register for use of the stadium. And there's a process that we all know what the process is. You go to the Department of Sports and you register your time and who you are, who's going to be using it, what type of event, and if it meets the criteria. Because again, we can't go and host entertainment events there at this point because we don't know the damage that has done to the surface.
Understood.
But these are the things, and we need to encourage our people to just do the right thing.
Okay. I know that different parties' perspectives are going to differ. But can, at any point, the three sitting parties that we have in the Federation, when it comes to sports, just come together and have a meeting of the minds, have one narrative for the certain things in the
Olympic Association, the different federations, and, once they're not playing that level of politics, right, and to make sure that we are aligned with how we use the facilities. And that is really where my alignment is. The politics, again, there's a thing called a campaign where we'll get into it, right? But until then, I have the mandate to move the sector forward. And that is my focus, moving the sector forward. I'm not about dancing and singing every day, in front of, trying to perform. I'm here trying to move the sector forward. And what's the best thing for the sector? Like you said, preservation of these investments, making sure that our athletes have good facilities to perform in. And that's what I've been doing. Repairing the damaged facilities that we met, and then putting measures in place to preserve them so that the future has use of them for a long time.
Oh boy. I won't ever want to be in your shoes. I remember at one point in time I was saying I want to be the Minister of Tourism. I'd be like, nope, not again.
Why not?
No, it's too much hard work, sir. I want to sleep at peace at night.
Oh, it's too much hard work?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll let who's up to that do it.
Say that for the people in the back.
In trouble. Have me in trouble today. Now let's go to the hot topic. I heard you on this the other day. We normally meet up with these gentlemen on every other Wednesday. The farmers. Why is it? This is my personal question.
Do you meet up with the farmers though?
Huh? Not you. We.
No. Do you meet up with the farmers?
You mean where? You mean on the farm?
No. You say you meet up with them every Wednesday.
Yeah, here.
With who?
The farmers.
Who?
Some of the farmers.
Who?
On Farm Report.
Who?
Why you say who?
No, it's important. Who?
I think you watch the program, so you'll know who.
Who?
But we have farmers that come and say they're trying to work with the ministry.
Like who?
And the Minister Duggins, and the ministry is not working with them.
Like who?
Okay, let me finish. I see they have very pertinent, they have excellent ideas, right? And I'm wondering, why is it that it can't work for the betterment of us? We see how the bigger ones are ready to treat us. The containers not coming, we can't eat. Why is it we can't have a thriving industry like Guyana? Because we have a Guyanese here, and their farms are flourishing. So why can we not all work together, us farmers and the ministries? I'm not a farmer, I'm just saying us farmers, because I'm including everybody. And we have a thriving agricultural sector in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
But we work along with the farmers all the time.
So why are there so many complaints?
Or is it complaints by a few? No, and that's why.
But these farmers say it's more than a few.
Yeah.
It's the farming sector that complains.
But okay, so you've been here for a time.
Mm-hmm.
Who did it start with?
Okay, you have a point.
And you're
but
here
then
now.
You are here now, so I
Correct.
expect you to make it better because that is your profession too.
No, but here's what I'm saying. When those complaints started, it started here.
Mm-hmm.
You were here. Shortly after.
Shortly after. You're correct. Thanks for that.
Throughout the whole time, who has it been? Same voices.
But they have a problem, so they have to keep fighting for
No,
what
they
don't.
don't. They created a problem.
Mr. Minister, may I interject? Let me, I don't want to go down this road where we're, it's not going to get us anywhere. I noticed since you started, you named out, I numbered them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. Sports, small business, culture, creative arts, carnival, sports development, and now agriculture. I remember the last time you were here, you sat in that chair and you were asked a question as to what is your most important portfolio?
Correct.
One, and if I remember correctly, you said it was agriculture.
That's right.
And number two, you also said that you take big pride in your endeavors in agriculture.
Correct.
Now, I'm like Hortensia, I'm only subjected to what I hear from the farmers who come here, okay? So on that element, you have a point. But what I have an issue with is that the farmers have been consistent in terms of their gripes. Now, I'm going to ask you, because there's a reason why I numbered these from 1 to 7. If it is that you said your most important portfolio was agriculture, let me ask you this. Do you feel that in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and I'm going to put more emphasis on St. Kitts itself, that agriculture is anywhere near where it should be?
If I were to answer that, we have a vision for agriculture that takes it beyond where it is currently. Now, there's a reason why I asked so who, because there's something that we need to be clear about. Are there people out there in the sector that are doing very well? Yes, there are. But we don't just want the sector to serve some, we want it to serve all. And part of what is happening is that we need to see the coming together of minds and not the pulling and tugging. Now, coming down to who will help to address this problem more succinctly, because what we have are people who create a narrative for their own gains and then try to make the narrative as if it's the national narrative by coming and repeating it over and over and over. And that is what I am saying. That's why it has to be clear who. Because at the end of the day, I did a media tour and I invited all the media to come and speak to the farmers themselves. We went out into the field and they spoke to all the farmers themselves. And after that tour, those media persons actually said, hearing those on the radio and hearing those in the field is two very different scenarios.
So why not have a conversation with those in the media?
Mr. Minister.
I have had many. And this is why I'm saying who, because I have sat down for hours with them, hours on a time, for multiple times.
Mr. Minister, I asked you a question. I'm going to reiterate it again. And you answered by saying you have a plan. How long has your regime been, since your regime has been in?
For 3.5 years.
Okay. I ask the question again. In your mind, is agriculture anywhere near where it should be?
But I answered that. I said it's not where we want it to be,
Oh, well, that
but
is
we are
what I want
moving.
to
We are
hear.
moving it towards where we want it to be. I answered that question.
No, you did not say is you're not where. Anyway, we're not going to go there. In terms of the who, I don't think that is very relevant. Okay? Now, if it is not where it should be, and you stated when you were first here that it was top priority, and you were enthused in what you had achieved so far, why is it that the budget for the very same thing that was your paramount importance has been decreased and decreased so drastically? And it's not anywhere near it should be.
So let us address that because I've heard that narrative. Now, let us be clear. Because somebody says something, you need to do a bit of background research. And I'm here, so let me address that.
Please,
So was
thank
the
you.
budget not decreased?
So let me address that. And here I am to address that. Government budgets have different areas of revenue input or inputs. You have the consolidated fund that services part of the budget. You also have allied institutions that give support to the budget. You also have internal mechanisms that you could utilize to improve the budget's capacity. So you get income from different areas. Now, from the government side, in 2026 budget, we saw it fit to make sure that we balance what the government input is against allied institutions and their investment. So there are a number of institutions that have committed investments to the government in the area of agriculture. So what we did was offset those investments against the government's direct input. We have also created mechanisms within the ministry. So now the ministry has a direct account to help us service the payment of farmers more efficiently. Well, what does that do? And let us get down to that. Prior to now, if we needed to buy inputs, there was a set budget. So if that budget was $1 million, there was a set budget to buy inputs. That revenue that we get from selling those inputs goes back into the consolidated fund. Once that money goes back into the consolidated fund, there's a long process that we have to do to get that money if we now have an over demand, which was happening. So let's take animal feed. When we got in office, the animal feed, the government's input alone to animal feed was just over 800,000. By last year, the government's input alone to animal feed was over 1.6 million. Right? Now, that extra money, we have to go back through the consolidated fund and and there's only so much that you could get out of the consolidated fund. That is why we go to Parliament to debate budgets. It's law. And there's only that much threshold that you have beyond to gain money, even if you're making the money back. So what we have done now is created a revolving account. So we buy, we sell. The money goes back in, we buy again, we sell again. Now, that million then, if you sell $1 million in animal feed, and if you buy $1 million and you sell $1 million, you now have $1 million again, so that's $2 million. Mm-hmm. And then you could buy $1 million again and sell $1 million again, and that's $3 million. Which means now you don't need to put $3 million in your budget. Okay. You understand? So, again, people just talk for gain.
So let me ask you this.
But
then.
we have to get down to what it actually means.
So let me ask you this then, Minister. Are you saying then to us, that less money put into agriculture? What was the budget for agriculture last year? Could you remember?
I don't remember the exact detailed figure offhand.
Okay. And what is the budget for this year? Can you remember?
It would have been. I'm talking about the current or the entire budget.
Yes, the entire budget.
And I could look at that, but what do you remember the exact figure?
Huh? And this is where I sometimes question when individuals come to sit down to have an interview, and then they don't. You ask a question and they tell you they don't have the answer. What I want to know, maybe before you finish, is what was the budget last year and what it is this year.
Correct, and I could get you the exact figures, because I don't want to quote generalized figures.
Okay.
I want to give you the
Okay.
exact figures.
So let me ask again, because I'm speaking overall budget for agriculture, not
Correct.
the different things that you just explained. That is beyond me. I can't follow.
But that is what the budget goes to.
But listen, again, so the budget last year and this year, can you tell me definitively if it was decreased? The agriculture budget.
Okay, so I just try to explain that to you. What I'm saying to you is that if last year we had to put 3 million for animal feed, this year we don't need 3 million. And so we won't put that 3 million in the budget.
Minister, you're itemizing and individualizing. Now, I'm speaking about the budget. The budget for last year was hypothetical. The budget for last year was 5 million, just a hypothetical.
Yes.
The budget for this year, if it has decreased, it is now 3 million. That is what I'm asking. I don't know the detail, and I'm not really. Don't want to go into the.
Okay, so I have
the
something
different
here that I written down when the farmers were here the last time. Minister Duggins, you could tell me if it's correct or incorrect. They said the budget was cut by 33%. It was 33 million previously, and it's now 21 million. That's what I
Okay.
have here that I had written down from a while back. I was just
that
looking for that
so
in
that-
January.
So then, in my mind, that definitively answers the question that the budget has been cut.
So again, let us be very clear about what we are saying. A budget isn't just a stock of money that's dumped into an account. A budget is monies allocated to initiatives. Every dollar of that budget is allocated to a particular initiative. And so, yes, last year we had to invest in one of our projects that we were doing to get it off the ground. That investment was made last year. We don't have to put that money back for that investment this year,
Let me tell you
which is very different. So, but I'm trying to answer to you because you asked me what was the budget, as if somebody comes with a bag of money and say, here's 20 million. No, that's not how it is. Every dollar has a line item. This is for rent, this is for staff, this is for this project, this is for that project,
But
this
the
is to buy feed, this is to buy input. Every line item. So if we now have to change the line items, then the budget change accordingly. So it's hard to answer your question when your question is generalizing
It's not
an
hard.
itemized budget.
But I didn't ask you to itemize it. I asked you to give me the overall budget, and she just stated it was decreased. It was
Correct.
decreased.
So what I'm saying to you,
And here's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
I worked in the civil service years ago, and one of the things that we were concerned about, I worked at ZIZ,
yes,
and one of the things that we were concerned about was whenever monies were allocated to a specific budget, we wanted to utilize it. Because if we did not utilize it as close to its maximum as possible, the government was going to find a way to decrease it, because their excuse would be, you don't need that much money. You don't need that much money, you're not utilizing the money, so we're going to put it elsewhere. That is why I asked about the budget before and the budget this year. And that is why I also asked you if agriculture was any near where it should be. You said, no, it was not. If it is not where it should be, why a decrease in the budget for agriculture? I'm not speaking about itemizing anything. I'm asking why a decrease in something of paramount importance as agriculture. Why a decrease in it when it's not anywhere near where it should be?
but how do I answer that without answering the question? Because you are asking me a question but telling me don't give you the answer.
But I'm sure that
You're asking me the
there's
question, but then telling me not to give you the answer.
I'm not telling you not to give me the answer. I'm telling you to give me the answer. The answer is whatever is entailed in you explaining to us why the budget was decreased from a portfolio that is of paramount importance, one, and is not where it should be. That's all I'm asking for you to explain.
But I am. Not
No,
to.
I never said. However you're going to explain it is up to you. So begin to explain it so that we can understand.
But what I think it is, Minister Duggins, is if we need to get somewhere, then we probably need all that money. So why decrease that money?
But this is why I'm saying, because at the end of the day, you're not really decreasing the money. You're decreasing the government, the consolidated funds input into that money.
Yeah, I understand the explanations with if you sell, you put back in, so you
So
don't.
that's one part. What about the allied institutions then putting their part? The grants that you're getting from other areas.
Like CARP and them?
So different different institution that is donating.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying. It's not that the budget is decreased.
Okay.
And that's why I'm trying to explain it to him, because he's looking at just static numbers on a paper. I am showing you how the numbers actually work. But then he's telling me he doesn't want to hear how the numbers work. I should just answer to static numbers. And I'm trying to explain to him, it doesn't work like that. Because every dollar has basis on a line item. So every dollar in the budget is towards something. It's not just money that's just in an account and said, do what you want with it. That's not how government works. So if I have an initiative this year, let's say, one initiative. Let's say we had to buy the tractors. Now, we buy the tractors. The next year, they're not going to put money to buy tractors.
Unless you need
unless I need more tractors,
Okay,
right?
got you.
So then to ask me why that money is not there, because we don't need to buy tractors this year.
Okay.
If you understand what I'm saying, there is a line item for every dollar. And depending on where we put the dollars, and again, the type of grants or input that we are getting from outside, then the government's burden on that budget could be reduced or increased accordingly.
Okay.
And that is what I'm trying to explain. That at the end of the day, the budget has different factors. Government and consolidated funds input is one factor of the budget.
Okay.
Having an account that creates that revolving is one factor of the budget. Having allied institutions and donors is another factor of the budget.
Okay.
So what he's talking about is a consolidated funds input to the budget,
Okay.
which is only one factor. And I'm trying to explain to him the different layers, but he said he doesn't want to hear about the other layers.
I did not say I don't want to hear. You're saying I said it. I did not say. But so then, Mr. Minister, when she read something that said the budget was decreased, what does that mean? You say consolidated
Yes.
fund.
Yes. So that's what I'm explaining to you. That looks at one area of input into the budget. That is what I'm trying to tell you.
Into the budget as it relates to agriculture.
Yes.
So then you're telling me then that the budget has not been decreased?
I am saying that we, from the consolidated funds end, there is a reflection of a decrease.
But that's all I wanted to hear.
Okay, but that's what I'm answering.
But
It
that,
is a reflection of a decrease from the consolidated funds
I
end.
didn't ask where, I just asked about the decrease.
No, but you asked me about agriculture's budget,
Yeah.
and this is what I want us to be clear, that that is not the entire budget. That is what I'm clarifying. And so you can't ask me to answer a question only to hear the part that you want to hear.
Okay then, so then, Mr. Minister, I would say to you and your cabinet, perhaps you need to enlighten us as a
Which is what
people.
I'm trying to do.
Us as a people, so that when you go into Parliament and you say there is a decrease, we understand whether it means a decrease or it does not mean a
Overall, yeah.
decrease.
Correct, which is what I'm trying to do here, but this is what I'm trying to explain to you the entire part of the process. So you're asking me to enlighten, but in me doing so, you're saying that's not what you want to hear.
You keep saying I said that's what I wanted you to clarify, and you have been trying to clarify. Okay?
I think at this point it's been clarified, but when we don't have clarity, when these things are just said, then we run with it because we're thinking, oh boy.
That is
so
my point.
the minister say we're supposed to get better. We see the container the main coming. What's going on? How come we get this cut? Like so
that's
because
correct.
we don't understand.
Correct.
This is what it creates.
Which is why I'm taking the time now that I'm here to clarify that there's a consolidated fund input into the budget, yes. But there are other inputs into the budget as well. And again, the whole idea of a revolving fund, a revolving account, that gives room for the budget to expand according to the need. Because there are a number of areas that have grown tremendously since we've gotten into office, right? I mentioned the animal feed, but there's so many other areas that the need for them has expanded. And because of that, we have to address that need. And to be able to address that need effectively and efficiently, we need to respond rapidly. That is what that account was put there for. So instead of the money now going back into the consolidated and then having to come back out via that process, it goes to that revolving account that is now managed by the Ministry of Finance. But it goes to that account, and then we are able to then respond rapidly.
Accordingly.
Now, in terms of feed, you specified feed, and you said the budget, you itemize.
I gave an example
Yes.
of that.
And you use feed as an example.
Yes.
Recently, I was in a business place, and people were complaining. There were two young people who were complaining that they started a chicken eggs farm.
Correct.
And they were out of feed, right? No feed on the island. And I remember one of the young women complaining to the others that they have invested and now they want the feed for the chicken to lay eggs.
Correct.
So they could make their money and whatnot. So how do you explain that then, having just gone to saying that?
And when was this?
That's just about maybe last month.
Last month, that would have been
Sometime
January?
last month. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, and I asked that because you had 3 different matters that could have led to that in 3 different times. So last year, in the latter part of last year, it was the absence of the same account that I'm telling you about.
Okay.
Because the consolidated fund input was exhausted and we needed to go back through that process again. Now, like I said, that's the whole process. So that was last year's matter, which is what led to the establishment of this account. December, you had a number of other things that were happening with the rush of imports and the congestion at the ports and that fiasco. In January, we had a unique matter that we were dealing with, where the feed companies could not find containers to ship the feed.
Did the people know that though, so that they
At the
won't-
department, I think they should have been communicating that at the department.
boy.
So the feed companies now, they're saying we are out of actual physical containers.
Understood.
And so they should have been shipping 4 or 5 containers. They now only have 2.
Okay.
And so it's not that feed wasn't there, but the quantities that we should be getting were not coming because they couldn't find physical containers. And that was on the feed companies' end. So that wasn't even a local issue. That was an issue across the board.
But it's a local issue because
Correct.
local people feel the impact.
It didn't generate from
Yeah.
the ground. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
It didn't generate from the ground. Now, over the last couple of weeks, they have started increasing the volume, so I guess they're now getting their hands on these containers, and the whole idea is that that saga should be over. But that's why I asked you, because it would help me to answer it more thoroughly as to what the issue was at the given point in time. Because during December, we had some, and it was like maybe a few days here, a few days there because of congestion, where the container is at the port or the container is coming, but they weren't able to offload in time or move it in time because of congestion. That was a different thing. So that was like a few days here, a few days there. Last year, we had an issue where the process of getting the funding to do the feed. So we, as from agriculture standpoint, we would have the order placed. But again, from a finance standpoint, the process takes longer than just placing the order.
Do you think if the public is better informed that we'll have less shoo and we'll have to listen to the hearsays?
And information is always key, so I can't say no to that. Again, but it's how, because, for instance, we explain, and classic example, a little off of animal feed, but every year for carnival, we utilize the tractors to support the carnival activities. We put out ahead of time that this is what is going to be happening. And then we hear, oh, they shut down operations. Now, not only is it, even before my time, a customary thing, but again, is how do you manage people who intentionally try to mislead, right? How do you manage that? Because we have made it clear what the operation is. It's customary. This has been going on for over a decade. We had tractors pull the trailers during the season. We all know that. And so what do we say? We're going to stop that? We can't. That's part of who we are. And so we know that for the last 2 weeks in December into the first week of January, now, we did that ahead of time.
Yeah, you informed them. But then there's still a complaint that after all of the activities that we had, you retired the drivers. So now there's nobody to drive the tractors
that's not
to plow
true.
the land.
The drivers are there.
Okay, I'm just saying.
The drivers are
being
there.
said.
So again, let me clarify that, because here's where these misconceptions become part of the narrative, and people intentionally are doing it, right?
Okay.
There are 2 drivers that are of the age to be retired.
Okay.
However, they're the best 2 drivers that we have.
Okay.
They are working. But there was the contemplation of how do you make it work when they're of the age to retire.
Okay.
And that was just the period where the contract had to switch over.
Okay. So the drivers are there.
They're
the tractors are there.
The tractors are there.
The tractors
and
are
out
being
working
used.
at that.
Okay. All
So
right.
this is what I'm saying. And we are communicating this, but then when you have that noise, it becomes that noise versus what we are saying and versus. But the truth is, the drivers are there right now. They're out in the field right now. And let's go back to when that noise was generated. This is the week after Carnival.
So what will you do and your department will do to quell that noise? Because we don't want
But
to
here,
we want to work together.
But this is what I'm saying. But we want to work together, but not everybody.
Do you want to take any calls?
Not everybody. And so my idea on it is, I have sat with some of those persons time and time again. I have brought them in, asked them how can we work together? They have put matters on the table, we've addressed those matters. But no matter how we address the matters, it goes back into a different scenario.
Oh boy. I pray that something works out. You gonna take any calls?
One of the matters, just to be clear, would have been parts for tractors. We've given duty concessions and parts for tractors. We've given that.
For farmers.
Yes.
Okay. Can a farmer? Okay. And next thing they say they're basically not given that opportunity. So can we allow them to bring in their own things so less on you too?
But that's not true. Let me say this. The farming sector, agriculture, has probably the best concessions in the country.
Okay.
Most people, if they do get duty free, has to pay VAT and service charge. Farmers don't. Only service charge.
Okay.
So whatever they bring in for their farm, they pay 6%.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
And they're allowed to bring in anything related to farming. Well, let me don't say anything. Let me be very clear, because they are, for instance, in farm vehicles, not every vehicle is recognized as a farm vehicle.
Okay.
And you would understand why. Because it protects the system from abuse. A SUV is not a recognized farm vehicle because people then may bring an SUV in and say, well, I'm a farmer. And they bring in a big Benz and say, well, this is for my farm. And it helps to regulate things like that.
Understood.
But pickup trucks and tractors definitely are recognized. And so you bring in things for pickup trucks and tractors. Once you go through the process, then you're likely.
So are they allowed to bring in a vehicle every year for farming, a farming vehicle?
Not every year.
Okay.
Not
okay.
every year.
Okay.
But a farming vehicle, yes, and they do get it duty free.
Okay.
Pickup trucks, particularly.
Okay.
Yes.
So not the tractors. You said particularly pickup.
Yes, tractors as well.
Okay. All right. And you said they're allowed to bring parts anytime.
The parts, again, once they go through the process and granted approval, yes.
Okay. All right.
Do you give any leeway? Is it just specifically pickup trucks and tractors? For instance, let's say a young person wants to get to their farm and they can't afford a pickup. Tractors are they're very expensive. He wants these small little cars that you see now that could get him to the farm, and he put something in the back and
So
come to the market. And
The challenge with that is, and this isn't just from agriculture standpoint, a lot of this is also managed with the Ministry of Finance. The challenge with that is, how do you regulate that? And like I was saying, in some cases, you go through and you try to identify that particular need. But then it becomes slightly problematic when these things could be utilized for personal use as well. And you try to find that balancing medium. But it's a challenge for government to be able to manage these things, because I could tell you from where I sit, there's some people that abuse it. And unfortunately, that abuse affects everybody. I've seen where concessions come in for vehicles, for business use, let's say. Type of vehicle, you're like, oh wow. You're like, wow. But it's for business, right?
Yeah.
And how
Well,
do you
what
manage that?
What about perhaps having a sit down with the individual and having an interview and seeing if it's genuine? Because a lot of young men especially want to go into farming, and a pickup, is very expensive. That's for someone who has been in farming and who could get the backing and the banking and collateral. So I would suggest you don't have to pick it up, but take it on the merit of the individual, sit down, have an interview, see how genuine it is, and
We do that. Whenever there's submissions for
Okay.
duty, we actually,
Okay.
meet the extension officers, depending on what level it goes up to the director or the permanent secretary, or if I myself have to, intervene. But we do that. I'm just saying that the regulation of it on a general
I understand
sense
that part,
becomes,
and I understand that could be and is often abused. I know that as a
So that's something, but I want to be clear about what we are saying here, though, because, and I always say this, the sector is a very vulnerable sector. Everything affects it, and we recognize that. But at the end of the day, you ask the question, is it where we want it? No, it's not where we want it. We want to see flourishing. Is it moving into that space? Yes, it is moving into that space. And we continue to do the development to move it there. And that is what I want to make clear, that I am not saying that we have it all right. Okay. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that we're moving to that space of ensuring that we get it there.
Yeah.
And in the last 3.5 years, we have made significant strides in getting it there. From the purchase of tractors, not just for farm preparation, but for sargassum. We got another set of tractors to help manage the sargassum as well. From the purchase of, the backhoe and these equipment to help with maintaining the roads. Because, again, you have so many farm roads, and we try to maintain them, but the equipment is just never enough.
Yeah.
And this is not like the sugar era where you had a pool of equipment nationally because that was your national industry. you now only have a few pieces of equipment, but then you have to manage the roads from Bastia all the way around. And so today, a farmer from St. Paul's may call. And then the thing is, when it rains, all the dirt roads get damaged. So you know what happens then? That machine has to go right around the country to fix all the roads. But that's just the nature of the sector. And as a minister, you have to manage that. Because the farmer in Mansion, to him, his road is going to be the most important.
Everybody's road is going to be
There you
important
go.
because we want it done, because we want to get
There
to
you
work.
go.
Yeah.
But as a minister and as a ministry, you have to look at it as, how do you manage the time around the island? And so these are some of the challenges that we have and that we are addressing. So I'm not here complaining about it, but what I'm saying, the sensationalization of some of this is where the issue is. And as I'm here to help to clarify. So me explaining is me offering the clarity to persons who may have these questions.
Yeah.
Because that is why we come to the radio, to help to clarify.
Yeah.
And you have your questions, and I'm here answering these questions earnestly. So me giving you the details isn't me trying to somehow evade the question, it's me giving you the clarity that you need to understand it. And that's what I was trying to say earlier, that what I was doing is giving you the full extent of clarity, so that when I leave here, you can say, now I understand where that comes from. Or at least my attempt to give you that
Well,
position.
I still don't fully understand it, but I have a better clarity now. I still don't fully understand
Got
it
you.
in terms of. But let me ask you this. You see this?
Yes.
This is a farmer's card I had, and you could see it's an old one.
Yes.
Now, this problem didn't start with when your
Correct.
government got into power. This started before. But whoever was in agriculture started to stall us getting, this. We'd go and we'd hear the system is down and blah, blah, blah.
So
You've been 3 years, and I'm a farmer, and this has expired long ago.
So
and
let
I
me
can't get
address
this renewed.
that, because I've had a lot of questions about that.
Yes.
It's like any card. Your number is actually the valid part.
Not the date.
Not
Not the date. Not
just the date.
Okay.
No. So your number, right? Yes, you'd want to, but what I'm saying, there's a physical card and there's a number,
Okay.
right? It's like a social security card or any other ID. You have the physical card, but if you have your social security number, it's just as good as your card.
Well, doesn't the card have a number on it?
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
you have a number,
Yeah.
which means you have a card.
So how do I get this renewed?
So that there's a printer that is usually there. Sometimes it does give some issues, but it's just to get it reprinted. So what I was saying, you're flashing the physical card, that's one part, but you have a number. That is the real essence of being registered.
So again, for clarity, if I go and I say I would like this renewed,
You should be able to get it
should
renewed.
be able. Okay.
Yes. I mean, again, there's some days where the machine acts up because it's a digital machine, but
Yes.
outside of those
That's
days,
understandable.
yeah, outside of those days,
Yeah.
yes. I just here because I don't want you to go up behind the
Well,
machine. Is acting up at the point, and then
I'm glad you're being clear because
Yeah.
I'm a stickler for clarity.
so I'm giving you that clarity.
Okay, so we're a bit over. I know we're being prompted for time. Nope.
But if there's any other questions, I'm happy to take.
Not
And
from my end.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to open.
So just for clarity,
Yeah.
because I know you were heavy on the budget question.
Yes, that was my concern.
So-
Is my concern.
So you have a better understanding of that.
I don't fully understand it because I don't understand how we can hear that a budget has been decreased and then someone comes and try to explain that it hasn't really been decreased. I don't really fully get that. But I understand where you were itemizing and going down and saying, well, if we take money out of this, or we could take money from here and there. But isn't that still being taken from the decreased budget? That is my concern.
Oh no, and so that's why I said let me ask. You're looking at one area of agriculture funding, which is the consolidated fund. So let's take your household, and just trying to draw a scenario.
Yes.
You work at WinFM. You go home with a salary from WinFM. Let's say you have a farm, and you go and sell vegetables, that's an additional income to your household. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, let's say WinFM says, you know what? Let's say you put in a lot of overtime, because I know you're usually here.
Yeah.
And
We
one
don't get over that.
and
Yeah, it's not an issue.
you were not able to put in the extra time.
Yes.
And you're maybe you used to go home with $12, you're now going home with 10, right? That has nothing to do with your farm input, correct?
Yeah, but the farm input isn't anything to do with the WinFM.
Correct. That's the point that I'm showing you. But it is to do with your household's budget,
Yeah,
because it's money in your pocket, correct?
I hear you.
And so somebody looking at WinFM might say, you have less money, but they don't account for the other areas through which you're getting money.
From.
So if you see what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying, but remember, I don't think, well, the audience is listening and they can come
Yeah.
to their own conclusion,
Yeah.
but I still don't think it fully
So
explains.
so let's say we have funds like we have partners that assist in some areas. Even our own central bank assists with grants to agriculture. You have funds like the Green Climate Fund that assists with agricultural projects. You have AICA that donates to agriculture. You have CARI and other institutions that donate. So I'm saying there are a number of institutions globally that donate from time to time to agricultural development. And so if they're putting in a certain portion, then the government could see fit whether or not to increase or decrease its own input into the sector.
All right, Minister Duggins, I know we are pressed for time. I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you for coming in and expounding. Sorry, we had to stay on agriculture because it's our breadbasket. We need to make sure that we're fed. Go ahead.
No, I would just say, and for me, when I come here to address where concerns are. Yes, I could talk about, but these are the things that we need to clarify.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a time and space where people could just say whatever they want.
Yeah.
The truth has to be put on the table.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear from both sides. So
Correct.
now you as an individual can make an informed decision
Correct.
for yourself.
Correct.
So I appreciate your clarity. I appreciate you coming in. I hope this is the first of many conversations because we didn't get to the bottom.
It's not the first.
Well, I hope. Well, I wasn't here on the last one.
Okay, you
so
were
first
here.
of
Yes,
many.
yes, for you.
With me and
Yes,
Quint, because I think it was Quint alone the last time I had to work.
And Miss Wilkins.
Oh, Miss Wilkin was in. Okay.
But
all
I've
right.
been here a number of times, right?
Okay,
And
all
I will
right.
continue coming because
All
for
right.
me, I believe that it is important to bring this clarity and
Yeah.
where you can. And not just me, but members of my own ministry
Yeah.
come as well from time to time. So I don't want it to seem like it's just about me because the information that I'm getting comes to the same ministry, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's never about you. But you're the one that's here, so we have to speak to
Correct.
Minister Duggins
Correct.
this morning.
Correct.
So thank you so much for coming in, informing us, being clear. We appreciate the transparency. We look forward to many more. So have a good day and enjoy your Black History Month. And thank you for keeping a smile throughout it all. If it's one thing I
yeah.
can say, you always wear a smile.
Oh
So
yeah.
you're good.
And while I'm here,
Uh-huh.
and you could do that when you know you're upfront and clear, right?
Okay, yeah.
But as I said to my son, and I want to say to you, that in this life you should dream boldly. And you said earlier that you always thought you wanted to be Minister of Tourism, and you're now backing. Don't allow whatever perceived challenges to change your dream and your vision. If that's what you want for yourself, go after it. A lot of times we look at, like even me in this position now, being questioned isn't for me a difficult thing, because at the end of the day, the work will speak, but you also have to bring clarity where people may not have the right alignment. Same thing with the budget conversation. You have to bring clarity where there isn't the right alignment, because not everybody's going to understand it just by looking at the numbers on the paper.
Yeah.
We should not be afraid of that. We should not be afraid to stand before the people and give an account for what something is. And I'm saying this to you in your capacity and your dream, because you said it was your dream,
Yeah, I thought about it.
to continue going after your dream if that's what you so desire. You know, whatever it is, you know. and you shoot at the stars, and ain't no telling where you get to.
All right. Hopefully in future I'll be standing right beside you as the Minister of Tourism. No, Miss Henderson, I'm not coming for your spot, you're saying.
Again.
No, it just kind of. So we'll have to cut it off here because we're way over time. But thank you for your kind words. You have a great day.
Indeed. Take care.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you. Join me, Percival Hanley, this coming Friday and every other Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon for Heritage Matters on Win Media SKN 98.9. Heritage matters to me. Heritage matters to you.
More than 42 million cars from 19 different car companies are being recalled for faulty airbag inflators. Repairs are fast, easy, and free. The problem isn't with the airbag, it's with the airbag inflator. Because the